Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Weston Boucher. I'm a model, menswear designer, YouTuber, and Amazon Live creator out of Southern California. And today I'm going to specifically talk about signs of low testosterone in men and why I decided to start TRT. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons, how I administer it, and just my current spot in my journey, having gone this route after 40 years old. I'll be 42 in September. So without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, so if you like my channel and the videos that I create and you want to see more of it, the best way to support me is to check out my menswear line, Weston John Boucher, at westonjohnboucher.com. Go shop around on my Amazon shop and also check out my Amazon Live broadcast, as I'm now an A-list creator on there. What else? Yeah, like, share, subscribe, that really helps, and comment below, as the YouTube algorithm actually really favors the engagement if you do drop a comment. So please do while you're here. And on the note of my menswear line, I did just restock my Stonewash crewneck tee, which has been crazy popular. I'm currently wearing the Iris, and I just added a new colorway called Ocean. So there are 5 colors now in stock. I think Iris already sold out from the restock this week, but I will be getting in more soon, so check those out. And then I also have just heard back tons of awesome reviews on my Luxe suede caps that come in the limestone and the brushed onyx. So if you're the type of guy like me who doesn't always want to get his hair all fancy because it takes time, and you just like to wear a classic baseball style cap silhouette, but you don't want to look dressed down, this is why I designed this piece, because it looks awesome with all of your more upscale pieces in your wardrobe. So check those out, and make sure when you're there to use my YouTube exclusive code YouTube15. That will save you 15% at checkout, guys. Okay, so I know it's been a minute. I apologize. I really have been wanting to upload and record more, but my menswear line, it honestly has just been a monster. I'm CEO, Chief Everything Officer at this point. And until I can scale and hire a ton of help, me and a few other very talented people have been working really hard, slaving away, as I'm just dedicated to designing the best pieces possible. But with that said, the goal is to circle back and to continue to invest in my YouTube channel, as I love connecting with you guys. I've just been super busy, to be honest, so that's been taking my time. Okay, first and foremost, with a topic this sensitive, as YouTube is very, very critical of videos that are on subject matter that's in the medical world, I will say that I am not a doctor, obviously, and I'm not giving anyone medical advice by any means, and I highly suggest that you consult your own doctor to get advice on anything that's talked about in this video, because your goal, my goal, and what I would think anyone's goal, is to optimize their hormone levels based on wherever they are at in life and whatever those options might be for them, to discuss that with your doctor. Okay, so my current stats: I'm 42 years old as of the 22nd of this month of September, and I am 6 feet tall, and I am currently just a little over 200 pounds, maybe 203, well, with my clothes on today. So unlike many in the fitness industry that claim to be all natural, I truly have been for the last 41 years. God's honest truth, swear on my grandmother's grave, for real. However, I do know that there are amazing guys like Thomas DeLauer, Paul Revelia, I think that's how you say his name, and Jeff Cavalier of Athlean X. And so much respect to those guys, okay? As they have been able to maintain their physiques and testosterone levels, as far as I know, without TRT at this point, and that is amazing. Much respect to them. But I will say, for someone like me who doesn't just focus on fitness, right? Not only running my menswear line, but my YouTube channel and the modeling work I've done, everything has been tied into overall self-improvement for men. So my energy and my time is spread over a lot of different things, but fitness is a big part of that. Obviously, doing the men's health cover and everything drew a lot of focus back onto the fitness part of things that I do, and people have a lot of questions. But I will say that I'm, honest, I don't have as much discipline and focus and time to just solely dedicate it to making my physique completely 100% at all times, but I do prioritize my health tremendously. But that's just me being honest with you guys, and this is part of the reason why I had to start to consider TRT. I mean, outside of those guys, you know, the general population after 40 years old, it takes tremendous sacrifice and effort to maintain like an insane physique, optimal testosterone levels, depending on your genetic predisposition, your lifestyle, amount of stress. You know, some people will just use those things as excuses. I will say that I tried everything under the sun over the years that was natural to always stay in optimal shape. And if you followed me for a long time, you have seen at various stages how I was able to get my physique to such an amazing place that I'm very proud of. And when people would question whether I used steroids, it was honestly a compliment. But now it's funny being on this other side. And I will obviously talk about what TRT is if you're just not that familiar. So as of January 2021 this year, is when I officially started TRT HRT, which is basically testosterone replacement therapy or hormone replacement therapy and hormone optimization, okay? So this is by prescription through my doctor after doing blood panels. That is what I decided to do at this point because I was hitting a wall on all the things that I had done up until this point that have always proved to be successful, and my body was just suddenly not responding. It was just like a turning point. I would say that's mostly because of age, but stress obviously is a factor too. And I'm weighing those options. It doesn't mean I'm always gonna be on TRT. It just means at this point in time, I felt like it was the right decision for me. For all I know, this time next year, I might be not on it at all, just able to get my body in a place where I'm happy. But like I said, in this season of my life and just this point in my life, this just does feel like the smartest and actually healthiest option. And I will expand on that because there is a lot of stigma and there is a lot of misconceptions about this. Okay, so why? Like, why truly did I need to go on TRT? The goal isn't, okay, so I feel like there's so much negative association with men talking about their hormones because people's minds immediately go to steroid use and bodybuilders and getting huge and buff. When women talk to their doctors about hormones and whatnot freely, and it's not a taboo subject at all. And when you actually get into it, you realize just how critical your hormones are to regulating your body's biochemistry on so many levels besides just muscle. And I'll explain why. You'd be surprised when you hear about like my first couple of months on TRT. I took some notes, as I usually do before every video. I'm pretty prepared, and especially wanted to be on this topic because I know there's gonna be a lot of like questioning and stuff with this type of topic, especially knowing that, you know, a lot of you guys have followed me over the years and just love that I always talked about doing things by natural means possible. So with that, it's important to understand that my goal is to bring my hormone levels to a natural state, meaning the levels are where a healthy man in like his late 20s or to mid 30s would be in terms of testosterone, not to go above that. And obviously not to drop too low because it's very unhealthy when you don't bring your testosterone levels to an optimum place where they would be naturally when you take out all those other factors of age and lifestyle and stress and whatnot. So, okay, so here's why I specifically felt like it was time to consider this. Muscle loss and response. Like my workouts, I wasn't getting the results and my muscles weren't responding like they always did my whole life, right? Depression. I've always had a little bit of like low level depression for sure, but it was getting to the point where it was just like my thoughts were just never in a good place. It was just like glass half empty versus full, right? Stress obviously has been a factor. 2020 for most people was a crazy year. It was for me as well. No libido. I mean, that is like a sure sign that testosterone is most likely in a low phase, like on your blood panels, or I should say in the margins. Lack of energy. I just didn't feel like myself, honestly, bottom line. So before I talk about the pros and the cons, it's important to know that like right now I'm just checking in and I'm still a work in progress with my doctor. You don't just start TRT and just get it nailed right away. If you're lucky, maybe that can happen. But the idea is that you follow up with full hormone panels with blood work after you adjust dosages, and then you supplement other compounds to make sure that the testosterone in your hormone regulation is in a great place, because you typically can't just only have TRT in terms of testosterone cypionate by itself alone, because there are of course side effects, but I'll get into those. And that is a big reason why a lot of people will be like, oh, there's no way I would touch that with a 10-foot pole. You have to understand that, like, this is not bodybuilder level type steroid use or even a lot of those other compounds that they use. This is doctor prescribed, and it's again, the point is to get to your natural levels where you would want to be optimally, right? For all your body to function as it should, not to have excessive amounts of muscle. Let's go back to January of this year when I first started, right? The funniest thing, which I didn't expect, because I also had my own misconceptions, was that my mental game just changed overnight. It was like depression, fog, everything just lifted. I just had mental clarity and focus and energy. Like, it had been so long, I just didn't realize. There was just this vibrancy to like the way I looked at life, and I did not realize how much my testosterone affected that part of my overall biochemistry, like plain and simple. So that was surprising. However, I was not noticing any of the other benefits that I was hoping for, such as just maintaining my typical lean muscle mass, muscle response, libido, just that stuff really didn't change. And so that's when I circled back with my doctor. We looked at my blood work, and my test levels were still pretty low, actually. I think they're around 500 total test. And you know, a really amazing spot to be is typically around like 1100 or 1200 would be amazing. So we dove back into my blood work and we introduced HCG. And with HCG, we also brought in DHEA. That's pill form, and the other two are by injection. I'll get to that later about how that's administered. But the HCG supports the testosterone that you're taking in terms of balancing out from any side effects, such as like, well, I'll get into the pros and cons, right? But once we introduced HCG and we upped the test dosage a little bit, it was like just a massive, like it went way too high. Like I went all the way to 2100 on my total test. So it was amazing how much just adding that other compound supported the hormone regulation versus just the test, right? Again, I am not offering medical advice. Don't just go try to get certain things. Like, you need to talk to your doctor, and you need to do it the right way, the safe way, the healthy way, because everyone's bodies are different and you're always in a different place, age, whatever, all these factors. So where did I leave off? Okay, so the HCG, right? So the levels went too high. So now I'm currently in a state where we dialed it way back, the frequency of injections way back, and now I'm starting to level out into a better spot, like I can tell. And I'll get to that with the pros and cons. Again, the idea is not to go overboard, because then there are side effects if you go too far. By the way, if you haven't already, comment below and let me know if you want me to bring my actual doctor onto a future episode, and he and I will talk through, you know, whatever my latest blood panel work is, and we'll literally go through it step by step. And he's just incredibly intelligent and a hormone specialist, actually. So I think that could be really cool. But I do need to hear from you guys, and if I hear enough of you guys, you know, say you want to hear about that, I'll definitely bring him on. It might be a little bit of work to make it happen, so I want to make sure you guys really want me to do that. So please take a second to just comment below and say yes, bring your doctor on for the next episode or something. Finally, pros and cons, right? Pros: depression extinguished, focus, mental clarity, mood enhancement, confidence, sex drive definitely way back, which, you know, that's what I meant, like, feel like yourself. Like, you still want to feel like a man, right? Like, you don't want to just feel like asexual, you know, like at least for me. And it feels odd to not have sexual desire, you know, like from it, just not like a total perv and just like completely off the rails, but like just a good spot, right? And then muscle mass and retention. Like, I feel like I don't lose muscle so quickly, and that from my workouts, I am just maintaining kind of more what I'm used to. And then physical energy. Those are like the main pros that I noticed right off the bat. But again, the mental one was a really cool bonus, because if you have any type of depression or anything like that, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying that this is the answer. You need to consult a doctor, obviously. But okay, let's get into the cons, right? So you have to keep in mind with these cons The ones that I've experienced are because we had to kind of fluctuate with my dosage to find a sweet spot. Doesn't mean that these things are permanent. Like, I'm leveling back out, things are good. So, you know, a con would be like new body hair growth. Like, I have like more like hair around like my belly button and kind of like up here on my back. Not a ton, but enough to where I noticed, and I was like, and it's like darker hair. It's not like a gross level of hair, but it's enough to where I'm like, that's definitely not what I'm used to. That was one sign that we needed to like bring it down, because I didn't have any of that. I didn't have any of that for like 6 or 7 months, none of that. So don't let that scare you. It's just, you have to obviously not have too high of a dosage. You have to just monitor your blood work. If you work with your doctor, make sure you monitor your blood work very regularly. You do full hormone panels, and if you can, do a micronutrient panel to see if you're lacking in any vitamin deficiencies and stuff like that. Blood shows you a lot. Okay, another unfortunate side effect if you get your test too high is your hair will thin a little bit. And so I noticed it just like ever so slightly, just right here. And if you know me, you know I have like super thick hair, and I've been really like grateful to have thick hair. So I was like, whoa, that is definitely a little bit alarming, but it's not like a permanent thing, and it's already filling back out like within, you know, like a month of dialing back stuff. Because you take tests like cypionate, your body thinks that it's getting supplemented that. So in reaction, like your balls get slightly smaller because your gonads, like your body doesn't think it needs to produce the testosterone, right? Or it's like that. I'm not saying it right, but the idea is when you take the HCG, that balances that back out and it takes care of that side effect. But again, if you get your test in the right spot, how much your dosage should be with your doctor, all these side effects are not there. Again, I went 6 months without them at all. I just want to be totally honest with you guys about my journey, the ups and downs, just transparent about the whole thing. And I waited this long, honestly, because I didn't feel like I had enough information to share yet to where it was just like, well, why are you even doing this? Like, it doesn't seem like, you know, you got it figured out yet. That's why I waited till now, because I do feel like I've had a lot of great things to share and experiences, and I just have a little bit better grasp. I could feel like I could speak more confidently after doing it for 9 months, right? But I'm not there yet, so we'll see. The next thing is gyno, like breast tissue. So if you have too much, if you have too much test, like you'll get kind of like man boobs, right? I kind of feel like it's just a tiny bit soft when I flex my chest, but it's not like I have boobs. Like, yeah, my chest still looks good, but it just feels like slightly soft right there versus like rock hard before. So, but I have noticed that just get progressively less and less over the last month. So I'm sure I'll bounce back. Lack of patience, being irritated, being testy. You seem like you're being testy. Well, that is definitely that I experienced by getting it up to 2100 on my total test. It was just too much. Another thing is sleep interruption and snoring. I never snored. Katie's like, oh my gosh, you're snoring, blah, blah. And again, that was only over the last couple months when the HCG and the test was up a little high. So yeah, I'm assuming that most of these side effects are gonna go away. They've already diminished significantly. And the pros are so great that I am 100% dedicated to getting them dialed in before I write off the whole thing entirely and go back to just not being on TRT. So keep in mind, TRT does not fix your physique or just make you jacked suddenly overnight. Not even, okay? All you're doing is, again, bringing your levels up to where they should be naturally, right? Not where they should be naturally based on being a 42-year-old male, but maybe a 42-year-old male with a testosterone of like a 27-year-old, right? Great, because healthy test means your body's healthy overall. Like, if you do, just sit down and Google like testosterone and its effects on the body for, healthy hormone levels and estrogen. It's insane just how important hormones are for your overall general health. I do think that when doctors don't suggest doing blood work when you do physicals each year or doing a hormone panel, it just blows my mind. I think the medical field can become very archaic in that this is how we learned, it was supposed to be taught, this is what we do. It's like there's a lack of evolution, there's a lack of realizing that with science, we gain more information over time. We are always learning. There's always more knowledge out there. And so I think it's important that even if you talk to your primary and you were to inquire if you felt like you might be a good candidate for TRT, if they have a huge kind of negative reaction to it, I would just question that just in terms of, maybe just ask them for a hormone test first, like a blood panel first. That might give you an indicator if they're like, wow, your testosterone came back really low, because it is dangerous. Like it's not healthy to have super low test. By the way, comment below with any questions. I usually circle back maybe after a week after my video's been out to allow ample time for enough questions to get put on the video post or description or whatever. And then I can go through and try to dive in and help you guys in terms of just relaying my experience. Again, I'm not a doctor, not offering medical advice. I'm just gonna tell you what it's been like for me. So, okay. How do you administer TRT? I'm not a huge fan of needles. I've never been a huge fan of needles. I even got pretty lightheaded when I was younger a few times when I get my blood work done. My sister's the same way. My mom, my dad, for some reason, I don't know if it's just genetically predisposed to hate needles, but now I'm fine with them. They really don't bother me now. I mean, obviously just with the frequency of doing this, I knew that had to happen. It was very, very foreign to me to go into this territory, of administering myself and having Katie help me. But now Katie's like a pro. She's like a nurse with how good she is at giving me the TRT shots. But basically I'm taking like the testosterone cypionate 1 time a week. I do it on Mondays, and the HCG the same morning, and that's it. And then the DHEA is pill form, and that has been now at twice a week, a Monday and a Friday I've been taking that. I'm not telling you specific dosages because that is not a great way to talk about this type of topic. In my opinion, it is extremely important, again, to figure out what you need based on your blood work first, okay? But I wanted to let you know about what the reality is like, right? So for the testosterone, it's a subcutaneous needle. And so that's like a 5/8 inch, right? Like diabetics use the same type of needle. So it's very tiny. And I administer that in kind of like my love handle area at like a 45-degree angle. A lot of people will talk about using intramuscular for testosterone, which I tried that initially in my quad. I really had no response. As soon as I switched to being in my love handles and subcutaneous, weekly versus bi-weekly intramuscular, longer needle into the muscle, I had much better results by doing sub-Q in the love handle. Had other friends and people that I've talked to privately say that the front of their stomach, they like doing it there. It's way too painful for me. I don't know if I'm just too lean in that area, but no, not a fan. So then the HCG is intramuscular, meaning it's a 1-inch needle, so it's slightly bigger gauge. But funny though, that one that like doesn't hurt at all, like I don't even feel it. It's not so much the size of the needle. I think it's more that testosterone is like a thicker substance, so it just kind of will burn a tiny bit when it goes in. It just takes a little longer to go through like a sub-Q needle. It's a little bit smaller. You can use different needles to draw and to inject if you want. But Katie's got it down to a system, and I've done it myself once as well. And it's honestly not that bad, and it does not take that much time at all for how great the benefits are for me thus far. So it's those 2 injections on a Monday morning that I do weekly, and then the DHEA pill is like a Monday and a Friday. That could completely change by the time I talk to you with my doctor, hopefully on a future video. Maybe we'll change that dosage based on my next blood work result. We still have to see. Right now, I don't know where my current total test is at. Like I said, the spectrum was massive based on, adjustments the last 2 times. So I think this time, with how I'm feeling and where I'm at and having like not many side effects at this point right now, or diminishing, I feel like I'm probably in a pretty good place right now. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the administering. I wanted to see if I forgot about anything. Oh yeah, I do multi-dose vials, so that way you can continue to draw from the same vial without having to do like one-time use and throw it away, which would be extremely expensive. So it really is not that expensive. I think right now maybe at around I think I'm even less than $100 a month, to be honest, because they're multi-dose, so sometimes I forget, and the syringes don't really cost much. DHA is not that much. So yeah, it's pretty affordable, and when you consider how much supplements cost in general, it's a no-brainer to me to just feel great mentally. I mean, just the mental alone is enough reason for me to want to be on some form of TRT. So, it's funny with where I'm at right now, having considered all these things. is like I look back on pictures before I even did TRT. I feel like I looked really, really good and I was really, really happy with it. I'm still working on that. I feel like since 2020 to now, I had like an umbilical hernia surgery. I had a bulging disc in my neck. I had torn a ligament in my finger from volleyball, a micro tear in my calf recently from volleyball. Just a plethora of nagging injuries, and then the lack of ability to go to the gym for a good portion of 2020. The overall stress of it all because of business and how things were impacted for all of us. I do feel like there were a ton of factors kind of that all came together, but at the end of the day, your blood work doesn't lie, and I do think that age was still the biggest factor because I still had a good stretch where I was back in the gym, eating right and doing everything as I normally do, and I was just like, I just do not feel like myself. Like, what is going on? I obviously respect anyone's opinion or, you know, decision of what they think is good for them. You may or may not agree with me trying this route, but I do think that if you work through a doctor with your blood work and you trust your doctor, and they're a hormone specialist, I think that it's something worth vetting if you are obviously like struggling with certain things with your body or your biochemistry. At least get blood work done. I'm not suggesting you do TRT, and I'm not giving medical advice again. I have to be really careful with the YouTube where they'll pull videos. But yeah, I want to be honest with you guys. That's where I'm at. And again, ask any questions. I'm happy to answer truthfully. My goal is to just, you know, get to a really great place with my health despite age. I'm always open to anything if it's done safely and it has effective results with minimal side effects, then I will entertain it. Please do, like I said, if you enjoyed this video, the best way to help me out, check out my menswear line. It's a great practical way to support what I do. I'm at westonjohnboucher.com. Make sure you use the YouTube 15 code before you check out to save 15%. Go shop around on my Amazon shop, as I have every category under the sun, from grooming to gift ideas for guys and all my favorite products that I personally use and love. I'm probably gonna be doing some Amazon live broadcasts. Well, I will be. I do 4 a month. So check those out. It's something new I'm doing. It's amazon.com/live. I'll post about it on my Instagram and everything, so make sure you follow me on there too. But essentially, it's like I talk live about certain products that I use, and you can just add them to your cart right there, and you can interact with me. It's like a live scenario where there's a chat and everything. You ask me questions. So it's cool. So check me out on there if you want to show support. Yeah, that's about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to be as thorough as I could. There's so much to this topic. I probably missed something, so forgive me if so. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Obviously, I will be giving physique updates as I go, and you know, throughout this video, showed some pictures of kind of progress and things like that along the way, and I will continue to do that. And keep your eyes peeled for a future video where hopefully I can bring my doctor on and get even more informed, because he knows way more than I do. All right, guys, I'm Weston Boucher. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video before you go. I'll see you guys next time.